Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Adam Talks Politics. I'm your host, Adam Pearson. Today's episode we're going to be discussing another topic on the government shutdown. Now previously we talked about border security and whether it was President Trump's shutdown, the Democrats' shutdown, or a combination of the two. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about Congress and their pay during a government shutdown. Now, yes, Congress does get paid during a government shutdown. It doesn't matter if it's a full government shutdown or a partial government shutdown. Congress and the president still get paid. That's written in law. Now, the question I have to you is, should it be written in law that these leaders who have caused this government shutdown get paid, whereas other people do not? Right now, we've got somewhere around 800,000 federal employees that are looking at potentially not getting a paycheck today. And Congress still gets their $174,000 a year paycheck each month, even though there's a government shutdown. So does the president. However, President Trump, he typically turns down his paycheck. He donates it to various different places. And he's a very wealthy person. He doesn't necessarily need the money anyway, but he still gets paid. Now, he still donates that money. But if he did not donate the money and he wanted to keep it, he would still get paid just like every member of Congress right now. My question to you is, do you think that's fair? Should Congress get to continue receiving a paycheck when other federal employees do not? My interpretation on this is that they should not. And a lot of times, even if they do lose some money, they get it back retroactively because the government's back open and it goes back and funds it from the day that it stopped. So federal employees are typically going to get paid anyway. Their pay may be delayed, and in this particular situation, it may be delayed for an extended period of time. However, Congress never misses a paycheck, and I take issue with that. Not only do I think Congress should lose their paycheck during the shutdown, I also don't think they should be able to go back and retroactively get it back like the other employees do. It's the failure on Congress and the president to keep the government open. Now, in this particular situation, I'm not going to lie to you, I think it is a noble reason to keep the government closed on behalf of the president, because I absolutely support the border security, and I think we need that wall, and I think if the president relents in this situation and he gives the Democrats the authority to reopen the government, he's not going to get that wall. The Democrats will never, ever authorize the funding needed for the wall. So if the president takes away his only bargaining chip, and now some people say, should you use the American people as bargaining chips? You know what? It's better than the alternative. We need that wall. So if the president takes away that only bargaining chip, he will never get funding for that wall. So in this case, yes, I think the government shutdown should continue until the Democrats do give him money for that. And again, I've said in another video that maybe you could add some other contingencies in there to help the Democrats feel better. Fixing some of the broken immigration problems. That's not the purview of this video. The video is more about, should Congress continue to receive that pay? In my opinion, the answer is no. Congress and the president should not receive pay if the government is shut down. Not only should they not receive pay while it's shut down, they should not get that money retroactively returned to them. So if the government is shut down for a month, then they should lose a month's worth of pay. That money should go back into the general fund, and they should not get to touch it. For that month, they should be like everybody else and not get pay. However, because the shutdown is their fault and not the fault of the 800,000 people who are currently going without pay, I think they should forfeit that money indefinitely. They should never get that back. They should never have the opportunity to get it back. Now, it does have some consequences for people who are trying their best to keep the government open. If I, for example, was a congressman and I did my best, I voted for the policies to keep it open and it didn't stay open, then I should still lose my pay too, because the reality of this is you're a member of Congress, and it is your job to keep the government funded and open. You're not doing that, so why should we pay you? There's a lot of things that Congress is tasked with doing that we do not get our money's worth out of them. We're paying these people $174,000 a year minimum to do the job. And reality is they fail on so many levels at so many different portions of the government, and they are just not earning their keep. And I take issue with that too, but that's something for a different video. But in this video, I just wanted to say, I've signed a petition on change.org that says these people should not receive pay, and I agree with that. I still agree with that. The only thing that I'd like to add, and I'd like to stress upon other people, is that I don't think they should get that money back. I think that should be forfeited for good, go back into the general fund. You're talking $174,000 per each member of Congress, whether it's Senate or House of Representatives. So if you take that out and divide it by 12, you're still receiving a lot of money back into the general fund for both parties, for both sides of the House and the Senate. You're getting all that money back. Now, granted, it's a tiny drop in the bucket for the budget when you're talking about the overall budget, but I still think, one, you should take away that money from them because they haven't earned it, but two, you should give it back to us because we're feeling the effects of it. Now, your federal workers, yeah, they're going to get their money back, and I don't necessarily have a problem with that because they're doing their job. Some of them are having to work without pay, and that's not necessarily true because I'm not seeing a government shutdown where they haven't got back paid for that. So they are working without a current paycheck, but they're going to get it all back later. I think most of your creditors understand that. They can see what's going on in the national news. So I don't necessarily feel sorry for those people. I do on a level because I would expect to get my money every paycheck. However, when you work for the federal government, you know that's always a possibility that the government could shut down, you can lose your pay. So you've opted to work in government, and we need good people, men and women, to work in those positions. So, it's not your fault. It's not our fault. It's the Congress and the president's fault. But I don't necessarily have a problem going back and back pay these people for that. Now, what I would like to see is if we're going to go back and back pay you, then yeah, you should be at work because otherwise you're getting a paid vacation. Granted, it may be a month or two later. But I feel like if we're going to pay you, then you should have at least been there working. That's, again, a whole different video. In this one, it was, should Congress and the president receive that money while they are being part of a government shutdown? My opinion is no, they should not. Maybe you have a different opinion. If you do, please leave that in the comments below. Also remember, this is called Adam Talks Politics. It's not Adam knows all about politics or Adam is a political expert. This is simply Adam Talks Politics. I take away the sugarcoating and I make sure that I pass the blame around accordingly, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. I don't care who you are. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And I hope the rest of you guys feel the same way. One of the things that I feel is really hurting our country is the political loyalty system. So if you're a Democrat and your party is screwing up, hold their feet to the fire. Same thing for Republicans. If you're a Republican and the other Republicans are doing something completely stupid, or you see that they're only acting in the best interest of themselves or the special interest groups, call them out on it. Call them out on your YouTube channels, your Facebook. Call and report them. Let the media do it. I don't necessarily trust the media. They're going to be biased on either side, one way or the other. And I'm not going to say who's biased on which side. Media knows they are. You know they are. But I would like to see more people holding their politicians' feet to the fire if they're screwing up, regardless of which side they're on. If your side's screwing up or the other side's screwing up, still hold their feet to the fire. A Republican can call it a Democrat. A Democrat can call it a Republican. But it takes a lot of courage for a Republican to call it a Republican or a Democrat to call it a Democrat. Do not be political sheep. I'd like to make sure that you all wake up and you hold your political leaders to the fire. Thank you all, and God bless.